Hello and welcome to Intriguing Realms. Tonight we are looking into the legends of a spirit entity called the KARABASAN. I first heard stories of the KARABASAN when I was living in Turkey. One of my students claimed to have woken in the night to find herself facing upwards and unable to move. Feeling afraid, she gradually became aware of a presence in the room, watching her. With her terror increasing, from the corner of her eye she could see the shadows coalescing. They began to form a humanoid shape, which then slowly moved across the ceiling above her. She could make out the outline of a head and a large hat. Unable to scream or move, she knew that this was the KARABASAN, a malevolent entity from Turkish folklore that preyed on young women. Turkish legend tells that if you are able to knock off the hat from the creature, you will receive all the treasures of the world. But of course you are paralyzed and unable to do so. She closed her eyes tight, praying the creature would leave her in peace. And the next thing she knew, it was morning. Had she imagined it? Turkish people are taught that the only way to ward off the creature is by reciting verses from the Quran or by wearing talismans inscribed with Islamic verses. A couple of years later, I experienced the KARABASAN myself. After a night out on the town, I awoke in the early hours on my back and unable to move. I experienced a feeling of absolute panic and terror. I felt utterly defenseless and vulnerable. I also felt a presence in the room, a presence that was watching me. I tried to call out to my housemate, but it was impossible to form any words or sounds. I closed my eyes tight, praying that I wouldn't see the creature, and the next thing I knew, it was morning. Over the years, I've often mentioned this experience to friends, and have been surprised to find that the legend seems to exist in most cultures of the world, with slight variations. In Italy, there is the legend of the Panda Fece. This is described as an evil witch, a malevolent spirit, or even a humanoid cat. She can be warded off by sleeping on your back, keeping a broom by the bedroom door, or by putting a pile of sand by the bed. In Egypt and the wider Islamic world, the entity is often described as a jinn, a spirit-like creature from Islamic legend. Canadian Eskimos attribute the experience to the spells of shamans, who hinder your ability to move and provoke hallucinations of a shapeless presence. In the Japanese tradition, the creature is a vengeful spirit who suffocates his enemies while they sleep. In Nigerian culture, a female demon attacks during dreaming and provokes paralysis. In Brazilian folklore, we find the pisadeira, a character described as a crone with long fingernails who lurks on roofs at night and tramples on the chest of those who sleep on a full stomach with their belly up. In Dutch folklore, there is a creature called the dabsog, or nightmare spirit. The legends may also be derived from the Sumerian stories of the succubus, which date back to 2400 BC. These are demonic beings that look like women and lure men in their dreams, usually for sex. The name succubus comes from Latin and means to lie under. They are often attractive and charming, but they may also show some signs of being demons, such as having wings, horns, tails, or glowing eyes. They are thought to drain the life force of men, and they may also attempt to have children with them. The opposite of a succubus is an incubus, which is a male demon that seduces women. Some stories say that the first succubus was Lilith, who was the first wife of Adam in some Jewish traditions. She left Adam, and rather than obey God, became a demon that preyed on women during childbirth. To this day, in many Middle Eastern maternity wards, some women still wear talismans for protection. Succubi are found in many cultures and religions, and they have different names and features depending on the source. For example, in Arabic folklore, they are known as Karina or Silat. In Hindu mythology, they are known as Yakshini or Mohin. In Japanese folklore, they are known as Yuki-onna or Kijo, and in African folklore, they are known as Popobawa or Tikoloshe. Science explains the experience as being a medical condition called parasomnia, or sleep paralysis. It occurs mainly during awakening and may be related to emotional stress. People who experience this wake to find themselves unable to move. This may be accompanied by a pressure in the chest, hallucinations, or a feeling that there is a malevolent presence in the room. Some people fear that death is imminent. Most people experience sleep paralysis when sleeping on their backs. The lack of ability to move can be explained by the persistence of a chemical, normally only present during sleep, which prevents us from acting out our dreams in the real world. Under certain conditions, this chemical can linger for a few seconds after awakening and cause a sense of panic. Interestingly, a modern manifestation of sleep paralysis are the reports of alien abductions. Abductees often claim to have been taken from their beds and have experienced an inability to move prior to their abduction. This is then accompanied by a feeling of a presence in the room, and then the appearance of creatures from the shadows. So does sleep paralysis explain all the appearances of the KARABASAN? Do we all just interpret our sleep analysis experiences according to our own traditions and folklore? And are all the sightings of this entity merely hallucinations? I, for one, do not wish to repeat my own experience. Until next time, sleep well. If you have had a true supernatural experience, please send it to us at IntriguingRealms@gmail.com, and we may feature it on the channel.